Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Tonight on Our News, PMH at full capacity with COVID patients. The latest on the fatal ABACO plane crash, plus Crystal Serenity sails into EXUMA. Welcome to Our News and thanks for joining us. I'm Christina Dragovich. Topping news tonight, Princess Margaret Hospital is at full capacity with COVID-19 patients, according to hospital administrator Mary Walker, who also revealed that the majority of cases are unvaccinated. Jasmine Brown reports.
Over the last 5 to 7 days, we are at capacity at Princess Margaret Hospital, and the more severe persons are actually being taken care of for ventilated purposes at Doctors Hospital West, and South Beach as well had 2 ventilated patients over the last 72 hours.
Earlier this week, former Minister of Health Dr. Dwayne Sands warned that more restrictions might be necessary on New Providence to curb the spread of the virus, as was recently done on Bimini following a surge in cases. From June 28th to July 4th, 303 new cases were confirmed in the Bahamas, the majority of which were recorded on New Providence. Hospitalized cases also significantly increased from 38 people in hospital with COVID-19 on June 26th to 59 people on July 4th. Despite the increase, Minister of Health Bernard Wells says no decisions have been made on increasing mitigation measures.
There are constant meetings during the week as to our circumstance, our existing situation in regards to COVID in the country. And those updates are forwarded on to the Cabinet of the Bahamas via this minister. They are taken into consideration, and based on what we perceive as both in our national interest from the standpoint of health, protecting the health and the livelihood of the Bahamian people economically as well, decisions are made.
Even though the country is facing a shortage of COVID vaccine doses, Wells maintained that vaccination is the solution to the issue and urged more people to get vaccinated. Walker also emphasized the importance of vaccination as she revealed the majority of people hospitalized are not vaccinated.
Our clinical teams are actually indicating that the vast majority of the persons that we are seeing currently in Princess Margaret Hospital and South Beach Health Center, they are not vaccinated. These are the persons that are in hospital right now currently receiving care. There are a minority, I would say about 2%, that would have had just one immunization. Vaccinate. You will be protecting yourself and your loved ones. We cannot emphasize it more than that. You will not get the severe form of the disease requiring hospitalization if you are immunized.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
The remains of the 2 Bahamian pilots killed in a plane crash near Treasure Key International Airport Monday have been recovered, and an autopsy will be conducted. This as investigators of the Aircraft Accident Investigation Authority are working to determine what caused the fatal crash and fire in bushes 2,000 feet beyond the runway.
The aircraft never lifted off, never took off. It never rotated. It just accelerated and plowed into the end of the runway.
Chief Investigator Captain Delvin Major says, according to reports, after startup, the aircraft took quite a while before it started its takeoff roll onto the runway. The Israel Aircraft Industries West Wind twin jet aircraft then used the entire runway, with eyewitnesses stating that the aircraft struggled to get off the ground. Major says the aircraft ended up 2,000 feet beyond the runway in bushes, hitting several trees along the way as the plane became engulfed in flames. First responders were met with intense rain, which hampered rescue attempts. Our News understands that authorities worked well into the evening to recover the bodies.
The rain came down after, so that hampered, somewhat of trying to. There was no need. You couldn't help them anyhow because they already perished. There was no sign of life. They were still strapped in their pilot's seat.
Investigators confirmed that according to a filed flight plan, the plane was set for Lynden Pindling International Airport. According to the tail number, the aircraft is registered to Houston, Texas-based company TransEnergy Inc. The Roots Junkanoo Group today sending out a death notice and condolences to the family of pilot Levan Paul, who was also a tum-tum drummer According to the Root statement, Paul lost his life in a fatal crash in ABACO on a routine flight. Condolences were also shared on social media for Jason Allen, believed to be the second pilot on that fatal flight. Tourism Minister Dionisio de Aguilar confirmed to the Nassau Guardian that the plane arrived on ABACO from the Dominican Republic on Friday. The AAIA investigation continues. In other news, the first cruise to sail a 100% Bahamian destination made its first stop today on EXUMA. Kyle Joaquin was on the island as passengers arrived.
Scores of Crystal Serenity passengers arrived at Grand Isles Marina for their first stop throughout the Bahamas. For many of these passengers and cruise lovers, it's their first time since the start of the pandemic.
Just enjoy myself, get away from home, go back to living a normal life.
We're going to swim with the pigs today, so I've never swum with pigs before, so we're all anxious to see what that means.
So here's how it works. The ship is actually anchored out there, and then the passengers hop onto these little ferries to come on into the marina, where they're greeted by some of the island's residents. As passengers hit land, they were whisked away to the many activities they had planned, from swimming with the pigs, sharks, to ATVs, or even the beach.
I mean, I'm just glad to be out of Florida for a while, even though it's the same temperature.
Right. What about you? Just to enjoy the beautiful islands. It's a wonderful place to be.
We're going to swim with the pigs. Yeah, I've never done that before. Swim with the turtles, I swim with the sharks, I swim with the dolphins, and I'm going to swim with a pig.
All right, have a good time. With 570 passengers on board, this meant big business for a lot of EXUMA business owners.
After what happened last year, the peak of the pandemic, we are excited. So we have a full booking morning and afternoon. And we're just excited to show the guests a bit of what EXUMA have to offer and give them a wonderful experience.
Over at Farmers Hill Community Beach, the area was transformed into a straw market where local artisans got to sell their craft and food products. And down by the beach, chairs and umbrellas to make the visitors even more comfortable as they enjoyed the turquoise waters.
What's really important is that beach is owned by the community. So to see that beach developed for a whole host of entrepreneurial opportunities for the community is exactly what we've been trying to do.
We're excited, very excited, because it's an avenue that we can display all of our lovely straw basket and whatever it is. All right, it's now a new venue, so we can try to make some extra money.
It's good to see business come in because now it's picking up a lot. And thank God the cruise ship is coming in and bringing more tourists to the island.
Island Administrator DEBRA MOXEY-ROLLE says the cruise ship arrival definitely spells big business for EXUMA.
This is a big day. We anticipate a boost in our economy. We have our vendors and our business people excited about the possibility of bringing more people and the possibility of more revenue.
Passengers will next get to experience Long Island, San Salvador, and Grand Bahama before they head back to Nassau. From EXUMA for Our News, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
Ministry of Health officials today signing 2 contracts totaling $90 million for infrastructural upgrades at Princess Margaret Hospital and Rand Memorial Hospital. Health Minister Renward Wells says construction will include a 96,288 square foot multi-story medical, surgical, and maternal and child health tower near the critical care block.
The contracts we signed here today, the first stage of approximately $90 million of investment made by this administration to expand and upgrade the health infrastructure at the Rand Memorial Hospital in Grand Bahama and the Princess Margaret Hospital in New Providence.
On Grand Bahama, Wells says construction will include a new 4-level hospital at the Rand Memorial Hospital site. Work is being carried out by the Beck Group. Principal Fred Perpall says they're looking to complete the work within 2 to 3 years, employing hundreds of Bahamian workers.
Projects that feel like this. No projects that feel more important than helping to rebuild the hospital where I was born, where my wife was born, where my mother was born, and where the people I love most come for service. So today is a particular point of pride for me and for all my colleagues at Beck. I want you to know, as a nation, but also as an administration, that we intend to ensure that these projects get all that we have to offer, and then more.
A police constable and the sergeant who came to his aid were honored by the Commissioner of Police today for their actions during a traffic stop that went viral. Jared Higgs has the details.
Police Constable Tyree Smith, seen in the white uniform, and Sergeant Travis Strawn, pictured in the blue suit, were each bestowed with the Commissioner's commendation and given $1,000 each for their roles in a traffic stop that went viral on social media.
This is what we talk about when we say police officers put their lives on the line each and every day to keep the public safe.
According to Police Commissioner Paul Rolle, Constable Smith spotted a man driving a motorbike recklessly on Tony-Williams-Darling Highway and sprang into action.
He had occasion to stop a motorcyclist that was riding along Tony-Williams-Darling Highway in and out of traffic, causing near mayhem on the street. Eventually, he was able to bring the individual to a stop, and in the process had occasion that he had to effect an arrest.
The officer and the suspect have each other in their grips. The suspect strikes the officer as he tries to get the situation under control. Seconds later, Sergeant Strawn, who Rolle says was on his way home, can be seen running towards the pair with his gun drawn. The suspect in grey looks stunned. Constable Smith then body slams him to the floor. Rolle honored the men at a ceremony held during a Comstat meeting. Smith, who just completed 2 years of service, was honored for showing restraint during the arrest. Strawn, who has served for 12 years, was honored for being his brother's keeper and coming to Smith's aid. While he commended the officers for their actions, he slammed bystanders who chose to watch and record instead of assisting the officer.
I would expect members of the public to treat their police officers, their sons and daughters, better than to pick it as though they're watching some movie. This is not a movie. This is a real life situation, and I thought it was in poor taste that they want to make a social event out of it.
The man in the video was charged with dangerous and reckless driving, assaulting a police officer, and resisting arrest. Reporting for our news, I'm Jared Higgs.
Well, we got some breeze in the capital today. Greg Thompson has the latest in the Weather Center.
Thanks, Christine, and welcome everybody for your Tuesday look at weather. Of course, we are still tracking else out there. Still a tropical storm at 60-mile-per-hour winds, now starting to move towards the north at around 10 miles per hour. Showers and thunderstorms associated with the system affecting the South Florida area, as well as some of those showers and rain bands moving in Northwest Bahamas, Bimini, Grand Bahama, the ABACOs. You guys will possibly see some of that shower activity later on tonight and into tomorrow. Our forecast track for ELSA shows how the system will continue to move over the next 24 to 48 hours. By Wednesday, we expect it to be just to the west of the Tampa Bay area. Of course, showers and thunderstorms still with the rain bands on the southeastern side could possibly affect the Northwest Bahamas throughout tonight and into tomorrow. That's your first look at weather. Your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come on our news, the Prerogative of Mercy Committee reviewing over 200 submissions. Plus, the Chinese ambassador calls for stronger relations. Stay tuned.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
The Prerogative of Mercy Committee is currently reviewing over 200 submissions for the expungement of records, according to National Security Minister Marvin Dames, who says the government is also looking into the construction of a new facility. Jillian Gray has more.
The prison housed about 1,700 inmates at the start of Dames's tenure, and he says there are now about 1,200 inmates, which he attributes to their work in expunging records.
We're doing the best we can to ensure that only those who are supposed to be there are there. The Prerogative of Mercy Committee, we had a meeting last week. We're now reviewing in excess of 200 submissions, and I think that there's a follow-up meeting this coming Thursday, and the Rehabilitation Committee continues to meet, and we continue to expunge records.
After years of inmates living in subpar conditions and overcrowding at the prison, the National Security Minister said it may be time for a new building.
We're looking at the possibility of presenting to Cabinet at some point a public-private partnership arrangement that will see the construction of a new modern facility.
A committee has been formed to oversee this project. The proposed facility would accommodate 300 to 500 inmates. In the meantime, upgrades to the prison continue. Marvin Dame said the administration building, kitchen, inmates workshop have all been upgraded. Maximum Security has also undergone an overhaul, and Dame says it's all about becoming more of a rehabilitation facility.
You can't tell a guy, we want to rehabilitate you, and then at the end of the day you put him in a cell with about 5 or 6 others.
State-of-the-art X-ray machines, new body armor for officers, and improving the area for visitations are all a part of the push to upgrade the facility. He said it will be a modern, medium security facility. Reporting for our News, I'm Jillian Gray.
The Chinese ambassador is hoping to forge stronger ties with the Bahamas. Bethany McDermott reports.
Chinese ambassador to the Bahamas, Tai Ching-Li, calling for stronger relations between both countries, especially in tourism. The Chinese ambassador said she also hopes to bolster political relations during her time here.
And in economic and trade relations, obviously, we want to see more visible progress and more concrete projects between the two countries. That's still being discussed.
Xing-Li added the number of Chinese tourists to the Bahamas is discouraging.
As things stand, the number of Chinese visitors coming to the Bahamas each year before the pandemic is not very encouraging. It's only a fraction of the number of Chinese people who regularly visit overseas every year. And also that's a small fraction of the number of visitors the Bahamas receives every year. So we have a lot to work on.
But the issue of tourism arrivals from China isn't an easy one to address, as she pointed out a few deterrents for Chinese locals, one of them being transport between both countries.
You have to get transit visas in order to come to the Bahamas, either from Europe or from the US. And the airlift is also a challenging aspect. It took me like 25 hours flight, not counting the waiting time even, to come to the Bahamas. So it's a long way away. But I think we need to try to tap the potentials.
Xing-Li, who took up the post back in March, says there's a need for policy dialogue between both countries in this regard and with airlines. Diplomatic relations between the Bahamas and China were established in 1997.
We need more better promotion strategies for the Bahamas in China. Because now the biggest attraction for the Chinese tourists in the Bahamas is the swimming pigs.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Bethany McDermott.
Still to come, the PLP slams the Florida cruise travel visa waiver, plus DeAndre Ayton and the Suns set for Game 1 of the NBA Finals tonight. The details when Our News returns.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
This is Our News. Welcome back. Attorney Wayne Monroe slamming government's decision to waive travel visas for cruises out of Florida. Tourism Minister Dionisio de Aguilar revealed the government has loosened its restrictions somewhat by saying that all passengers who embark in Florida will not require a health visa. He says this is on the condition that cruise companies guarantee that passengers with symptoms disembark. Well, Monroe says, what about mail boats?
I call on the government to remove it for mail boat passengers too. That's like a cruise, just that you cruise from New Providence to your family island. There could be no reason that they remove it from incoming sea sea passengers and not remove it from internal sea passengers unless, of course, it is what it is, which is another instance in which this government is treating foreign persons better than they are treating their own citizens.
He added it appears as if Bahamians are not the government's priority.
That will tell you the priorities of this government. It is not the Bahamian people. It is not our time. It is somebody's time, but it certainly is not the Bahamian people's time.
The government's VAT holiday for hurricane supplies takes effect this Friday. From July 9th to July 31st, there will be no value-added tax on certain items. State Minister for Finance Kwesi Thompson explains the move is to help Bahamians get better prepared in the event of a major storm.
So we are encouraging persons, obviously, during this hurricane season and looking at the what's happening now, and that we see storms are traveling now, and we want to encourage persons to take advantage of this VAT holiday.
Items include flashlights, battery-operated fans, plywood, life jackets, candles, coolers, and portable radios. The holiday only applies to hurricane supplies purchased locally. Jazz Chisholm had a good night against the Dodgers. Marcellus Hall has that and more tonight in sports.
All right, thanks a lot. Welcome to our sports, everybody. I'm Marcellus Hall. Behind me, of course, is Jazz Chisholm. Haven't talked about him in a while. That's because he and the Marlins have been struggling a bit during the course of the regular season. Last night, taking on the defending World Series champions, the LA Dodgers, looking to pick up a big win. Let's see how they did. Jazz Chisholm and the Miami Marlins facing off against the LA Dodgers yesterday in Miami. Jazz leading off, playing second base as usual, and he would have a good night overall at the plate, finishing 2 for 4 with an RBI. Marlins picking up a nice win, 5-4 the final score. They improved their record to 36-47, still well below 500. Good though for 5th in the National League East. They'll play again this evening. All right, and here we are again as we get ready to transition into the NBA, where tonight, for the first time in quite a while, we'll have a Bahamian who will be featured and highlighted during the course of the NBA Finals. His name is DeAndre Ayton as he and the Phoenix Suns take on, of course, the Milwaukee Bucks. Hoops tonight as Game 1 of the NBA Finals featuring Bahamian DeAndre Ayton and his Phoenix Suns taking on the Milwaukee Bucks. It'll be Game 1 of the best-of-7 NBA Finals series. Now, Ayton has been a breakout star during these playoffs runs, shooting a high percentage while making a number of clutch plays, both offensively and defensively, to help guide the Suns to their first NBA Finals in 28 years. We'll give you more details on that, of course, after tonight's contest. And there it is, your check on sports for you here on this Tuesday. I'm Marcellus Hall. Back to you.
Thanks, Marcellus. Still to come, how Grand Bahamians will be celebrating the nation's birthday after this.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
Welcome back to our news. Elsa strengthens to a hurricane once again. Will it impact us? Greg has the details in the Weather Center.
Thanks again, Christine. Welcome back, everybody, for your second look at weather. Of course, Elsa's still in the weather picture right now to the west of the Bahamas and actually just west of the Florida Keys, continuing to move towards the northwest at around 10 miles per hour, 60 mile per hour winds. It will be affecting portions of the northwest Bahamas with some of those outer rain bands on the east side of it. Of course, Elsa will be picked up by a frontal boundary and an upper level trough to the north, quickly swinging it out towards the north and east away from us, and that will spell the end of Elsa for us. High pressure will build back in and generate some very nice warm conditions across the Bahamas over the next couple of days. The tropics, we're watching 3 tropical waves, one just near the lower Windward Islands, another one into the middle Atlantic, and a stronger one moving off the African coast, not showing any real signs of development at this time. Your boating forecast for the northwest, central, and southeast Bahamas. Your winds will be out of the east to southeast at around 15 to 20 knots. Caution flag posted. Very rough seas out there, 47 feet. Tide was high at 6:42. Will be low shortly after 1 in the morning. Here's a look now at your national forecast. A look now at your extended forecast through Sunday. That's a look at our weather. Make it a safe night, everybody. Back to you, Christina.
Thanks, Greg. Grand Bahamians will showcase their Bahamian pride during independence celebrations under the theme Revive Us Again. Flag-raising events will take place simultaneously on the grounds of various government offices on Friday.
I believe that this is a time for us to acknowledge and appreciate where we are as a people and our resiliency to be able to still stand strong after the many attacks and setbacks we have had. So we want you to don your flags, wear your shirts, put on your Bahamian colors, and let's celebrate who we are and how far we have come. And we're still standing strong as a people.
Well, thank you for joining us for our news tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Christina Dragovich. Have a beautiful evening, Bahamas.